while we're here, for those of you who are new, this is where I sit down with you guys and talk about the latest stuff that's been going on in this game and some of my personal experiences from the week. If anyone on Twitch is listening and has insight they want to throw in, like things you want to hear talk about, or how your experiences have been going, feel free to throw them into the chat. That's why I live stream it instead of just pre-recording it, I suppose. I'll be honest, I stream it for easy access, so I don't have to worry about editing. But then I started editing the videos a bit, so it's kind of canceling itself out. So, yeah. It's more for you guys at this moment. Anyways, this week has been a bit busy for me, especially today. So why don't we just jump right into the news? There's been a couple stories. I feel like I'm missing a couple things, but I'll at least cover the main stuff. First of all, I found some news in regards to Pokemon Go outside the ordinary. Think you guys might want to actually see it for yourself. According to the Google Trend tool, Pokemon Go has nearly doubled in popularity over the past 3 months when compared to the rest of the year. If you look at the chart down here, you can see earlier on in September 2017, it's like, I'm not sure if that's 50 million or 50,000, because the game doesn't really mention anything about that. This chart just has like 20 benchmarks of 25, 50, 75, and etc. But I know this game has had at least 1 million players, so that has got to be in the millions, is my personal speculation. Maybe I didn't think this through fully. Point being, though, it starts in 50 in whatever increment is going by near the start of the year, and now it peaked up at 100s, kind of going back down a little bit. Probably nothing to do with anticlimactic raid bosses, but that's something to complain about another moment in this show. Point being is how this game's popularity has pretty much doubled since 2017. It's a similar pattern that was observed during last summer, when Pokemon Go introduced a completely reworked gym system and a brand new cooperative gameplay element, the raids. And it's kind of weird to say that, because the raids feel like they've been with the game forever at this point. And arguably the spike was more intense, but also... Oh, it was saying last year's spike is more intense, but also lasts shorter compared to this spike. Long story short, Pokemon Go is still striving pretty strong. And the only thing dead about Pokemon Go are the memes about it being dead. I'm just scrolling through this article to see if anything else catches my mind. Nothing in particular, but at least I scrolled through it all for you all to see. Here's this article I believe just talks about details of what might possibly made it spike and all that. Including the Moltres state, which I guess I'll skip ahead and talk about that real quick. Also, in our good old news, Niantic has released some details since the last time we met in regards to the next raid day, the reward for the Japanese Safari Zones. As pretty much everyone has speculated, it is indeed a Moltres Day, and I guess it was so obvious they actually announced it ahead of time. Oh yeah, I did talk about this last week, didn't I? Just in case I didn't, I'll scroll through real quick. Professor Will's Global Challenge happening today and tomorrow as I'm streaming. It'll be long gone by the time this gets up on YouTube. Thankfully, we did everything we needed to do to unlock the challenge requirements on those 2 days already. So, by the time you see this on YouTube, tomorrow for those of you watching on stream, we are going to get a whole bunch of Stardust bonuses for a whole week. Including whenever you do a raid, you'll now get 3,000 Stardust instead of the usual 1,000. And there's also extra Stardust for catching Pokemon, hatching out eggs. And the big thing is, Star Pieces have increased from lasting half an hour per piece to an hour per piece. In a similar parallel to Articuno Day, where everything was focused around experience, and Lucky Eggs lasted for a whole hour instead of a half an hour. As for the Moltres Day itself, that will be on September 8th, same time as the Zapdos and Articuno Days, so I'm not going to list it all because it does vary from region to region, but it's a pretty consistent time for Niantic. It's when they release their community days, and it's when the past few raid days have been. So I would recommend, if you don't already know when those days were, search the internet for your particular region and get it out. For me in the US Eastern Time Zone, that would be until 2 to 5 is our magic time frame, is what I'm trying to say. As for the Moltres Day, like per usual for these raid days, you'll get 5 free raid passes for free. Essentially, you get 1 every time you do a raid and spin at stop. So that you won't get all 5 at once, but you'll have 5 for the first 5 Moltres raids you do on that particular day. And for those of you who like novelties, during this window, it'll know the flying type move Sky Attack. Technically, I'm pretty sure that's the strongest flying type move in the game. Unfortunately, that doesn't really matter because flying has yet to find a good place in the meta. And Moltres is just better as a double fire attacker, so I don't really see anyone using it. If Moltres got a flying quick move as well, maybe you could find a good use, especially considering how strong it is. But as it stands, Sky Attack is mostly just for the novelty. And if you catch a good Moltres, you might be better off just TMing it to its best fire move. There may be reasons in the future to hold on to it for Sky Attack, but you definitely won't get any use out of that move for the foreseeable future, at least with the way battling currently is in the game. Still, it's nice. This is actually kind of better in my opinion, just having a little mix of both. Whole concept of having Pokemon, having something with the Pokemon games that when you go raid and all, you get something unique for that event, but not something to the point where it's meta breaking and you feel like you're really being left out, not being able to dish out as much damage as possible if you're not out for that particular 3-hour window. I think that's all I gotta talk about in regards to that, though. Also worth bringing up, though, is the fact it is now the month of September, and with that, a whole new set of field research has come into play, along with a new research breakthrough. Surprising no one is another legendary beast, this time of the Pokemon Entei, which granted isn't too bad because I'm pretty sure the way the game currently stands, Entei is the next best thing after Moltres, and honestly, there's some situations where Entei would be better than Moltres. I'm thinking specific situations where the Pokemon is weak to fire moves, but has a rock charge move. Because I assume in that particular situation, Entei would be better because it's only super effective against rock once instead of being both a flying type and a fire type weak to rock types. Because the game does take account if you have two types weak to a particular type. With the release of Entei, when you complete your good old field research, there's also a few other research tasks thrown out in a while. I don't think I got any in particular right here, but some of the ones that come to mind include a new Spinda task. Spinda is out now with a different set of spot patterns. And I think I can actually show you that live a little later on. For now, though, I'm going to be saving it for a bit. This time, though, instead of getting like 3 curveballs in a row, the mission is to get 1 great curveball. And that will... So if you come across a field research that has the leaves with a question mark on the side there, and it comes up with the text of throw a curve great ball, hold on to that because that's your ticket to get the Spinda of the month. It's a little unfortunate because it just proves actually was out yesterday looking for a Spinda quest before the research swap because I swapped at midnight. I know that the field research breakthrough where you get the legendary beast, I know that changes at like 4 o'clock my time zone. But I thought the field research themselves didn't change until the following day. Turns out I was wrong on that, so I actually got the last spotted Spinda before they swapped to the new one. For better and for worse. Oh yeah. And they also snuck a new shiny in there. Like, we were already going through the Japanese Safari Zone and having shiny Wingul be in the mix for this game. But instead, in between all of that, they threw a new shiny at us. Growlithe now apparently has the potential to be shiny. I've seen them floating around the internet. I haven't, of course, come across one myself. I did find the field research that's related to Growlithe, though. There's a field research where you have to catch a Pokemon or just feed 10 berries while catching Pokemon. No, I think the wording of it, you have to use a berry, catch it, and that counts as 1. Then the next Pokemon you use a berry and catch counts as 2. I haven't paid that close to the details, unfortunately. I just know that if you come across a field research that involves feeding and catching Pokemon, hold on to that, because that'll get you Growlithe, which not only has the potential to be shiny, but it's also useful for a new field research that has come out, which I unfortunately didn't have noted, but I think I have somewhere down here, because I just happened to get the item associated with this quest the other day. Yeah, there's a quest where if you catch 5 fire types, you earn yourself a silver peanut berry. Technically, I believe this is a reward later on in the Celebi quest, but I actually haven't gotten that far into it yet. I'll go more into it when I talk about my personal experiences, but yeah, I might be close, but I definitely won't be getting that today at the very least. Like, really close. Like, I just need to wait for it to become nighttime at this point. The wait is killing me. Especially considering how much hassle I've gotten to get to this far in the research breakthrough. I'm not sure if I told you guys about the glitched, quote-unquote, Eevee, but we'll save it for a personal experience. Maybe I'll buy myself some time to figure out if I talked about it already or not. I'm trying to think of some other things that were relevant to the field research. You know what? Let me just pull up the chart on Pokemon Go Hub. While I'm getting to there, though, I do know that there's a new research task that involves sending 5 people a gift. And if you do that, you get yourself a Roselia, which isn't that special, but it is an easy quest, and it is a Pokemon that has the potential to be shiny. So there is that to look forward to. I actually am sitting on a Roselia quest right now. Really looking forward to opening that up and just checking to see if it's shiny or not. Hopefully this has the graphic. Here we go. So minus the ones I've mentioned already, you can also power up a Pokemon 3 times for a coughing, catch a Rattata or a Pikachu for a Phanpy, or earn a candy walking your buddy for a Numble. So if you're missing any of those Pokemon for your decks, now's a good time to go out there, find that field research, complete it, and get your Pokemon. And I think that just about covers everything that's been going on in the news. So I think we got the time to talk about my personal experiences with the game. If you don't mind, just give me 1 millisecond to get some water and re-parch myself. Oh, hey, Real. I just noticed in the chat that we got a question. I might as well answer what I can now. He's basically asking, do you know how to deal with rooted devices? And unfortunately, I do not have an answer to that. I don't have personal experience rooting my phone. I've never really been the type interested in things in regard. I don't know if I want to say. Tempted to say hacking, but I know there's more to it than that. And I know that there's legitimate uses for rooting your phone, but I unfortunately don't have the experience in that area, so I don't really know how I can help you with it. I'm not sure if you're asking this in regards to some of the stories floating around in the game in regards to how Niantic is approaching those devices, but I wish you the best of luck with that. Yeah, I can see where you're coming from. My phone's a bit old, so I've had situations where it doesn't feel like it performs like it should. I think we're at a point where I can actually go into some of my personal experiences with the game for this week. And unfortunately, I didn't get everything written down, but I can at least show you some clips of what I've done. One of the first things to note, shortly after I actually did the podcast last week, and shortly after I did the podcast for that week, I actually took on Krylia Raid solo, and I'm not sure if you saw, but this is a fully Aaron-only team. And going through it, basically battled it with just my Aaron army. I am working on trying to improve this record to try to do it with less of them, but it's the thing. Hey there, sports player. Unfortunately, I am not accepting friend requests at the time, if that's what you're asking. All I see is want cold. I've already added people I need for the one quest, and I'm currently trying to keep my friends list between people that I interact with locally, like in person, and personal friends. No offense for that, but glad to see a fellow Instinct player chatting along. Onwards with the rest of the things that have been going on with my experiences for the week. See. I forget what's so special about this clip, but I think it's just showing off that I got another Spinda this week. And this was basically a lot of the findings I found during the Jolo event. Got myself a Spinda here. And hatched out that Lone Sandshrew. And got myself another Wynot. Also did some raid battles during this week. During that one time in the Joel Festival, where Ho-Ho was around for a couple days, I was able to solo or take on a couple Ho-Ho raids. I was actually heading out of town for the day, and I just caught this on Facebook chat that they were gonna do some Ho-Ho raids, so I rushed back over there and went and caught the Pokemon. I think I caught one of them and the other ran away. But them's the breaks. Neither of them were shiny, and I was pretty avid with getting Ho-Ho when it first came out, so I'm not too disappointed about missing out on it, but it's nice to actually be able to do Ho-Ho raids during that particular event. Yeah, this story kind of just falls flat on his face, unfortunately, because this is just me showing up some of the bitterness I've had trying to get Regirock of all things. That it's embarrassing with how much people were talking about how bad it is and how easy it is to catch. But that's when you're struggling to actually find opportunities to raid against it. That is where the challenge comes in. This particular Reggie raid is pretty much the only one that I actually completed on the Friday. But as you might be able to see here, I failed to catch it. Even got an excellent curveball on Golden Raspberry for my first throw. But I do admit, I could have been a lot better with throwing at it. And I'm not even going to talk about this second attempt at the Regirock. Too many embarrassing things about it. Thankfully, though, I did actually get a Regirock not too long ago. And yeah, Shiny Growlithe is apparently in the game now. So if you know a place where a Growlithe spawn, now's a good time to go out there and go catch it. As I mentioned earlier, there's also field research to actually guide you along and get the Growlithe. For the reference of Slow, for your reference, that particular field research is catch 10 Pokemon using the help of berries. If you see that, hold on to it, complete it, and it'll get you a Growlithe. It's not guaranteed shiny, but when it's not the most common Pokemon to find, you might as well take everyone you can get if you want it that badly. And yeah, this is the Regirock I got. Unfortunately, I didn't have a chance to render the clip, but I actually did it around the same town that I did my first Regirock raid and fail. Funny enough, it was a very similar situation. We had 7 people. It was weather boosted. But I think the big difference here is I actually prepared. I'm not sure if any of the people I raided with also prepared more. But I checked my sources before I went on. Used Pokebattler to determine what was the best things to use against it. Make sure they were all powered up. And got to take it out. So there is all that. And what else did I talk about? Apologies, I've kind of just stumbling on my words here now. And I do gotta clean out Wingul's. I did just get back from a walk. That's the biggest reason why I pretty much went from 12:30 to 1 o'clock with the stream. That was kind of holding me up. And before I go just scrolling through my Pokemon showing what I've caught recently, it is probably worth noting yesterday I was out and shiny hunting, or hunting for Wingul's. And I did find a lot of stuff along the way. Maybe it's just my imagination, but it really feels like yesterday the shiny spawns were really put up. Not even shiny spawns, but just spawns in general.
Oh boy!
Yeah, I did remember to leave that in.
For a millisecond.
That's the reaction to catching my first shiny Wingull. It's not the typical gasp I do. Probably because the gasp is pure surprise, while whatever that was more so just general excitement. But yeah, I got myself a shiny Wingull. In fact, super dumb, but essentially I have an area that I tend to walk for these sorts of things. Like, it's a place I always go for Pokemon Go community days. But there's also a park not too far from it, and this shiny Swablu of all things, I found in between walking from that area to the park, when there's essentially no stops in between the two. Like, it's all condensed between that area I normally walk and the park, but instead of driving over there, I decided to walk over there, and I was rewarded for my efforts. Yeah, here is the situation with the Spinda. I forgot I included in this clip. But yeah, as you can see from the time frame up there, this was redeemed a little before 11:30 on Saturday. So the quest was still get 3 curveballs in a row. And it was the original spot pattern, not the new one that we see on screen later on. Let me double check. Was this Spinda actually good? Or is the IV check just for happening that? I think it's been up too fast, but it looked like it had at least perfect in something. Yep, and there's a second shiny Wingull. If anyone, to make it up to people jealous of my luck, out of all the time I spent today walking, I did not find a single shiny Wingull. These are my only 2. That's everything I kind of had pre-recorded for you guys for the chat. Let me just quickly scroll through my recent catches and see if it triggers any other thing else. So yeah, I got the Growlithe, not shiny. Between catching these Vulpixes and the Growlithe, though, I was able to get that Silver Pinap Berry, which, besides the research task that just came out, I believe is exclusive to the Selby quest. Oh yeah, there's those last 2-minute raid bosses that I did. Anything else? Oh yeah, did do a bunch of trades. Pretty much right after we caught the Regirock, we just went around in a circle and traded things back and forth. There's this guy, which essentially I was in a situation where I just got the Umbreon quests, or a certain part of the Selby quest where you have to walk an Eevee. I wanted to do a trade with someone just to assure that I would be able to have that checked off, and I wouldn't be waiting on a trade. So I did a trade. Forgot that this person basically rarely plays the game, so most of the stuff they held on to was still from 2016. I have to double check to see if they even know how to transfer Pokemon. Because we started talking about it, and they were like, what is transferring? And I'm like, oh boy, that's that explains a lot. That explains all these 2016 Rattatas. So I got a lucky Rattata, which I don't know if I'll ever know what to do with. But that reminds me that there was a few evolutions I wanted to do on screen. That might have been one of them. There's the Spinda. Oh yeah, I want to evolve the Swablu on stream because it is a pretty good Swablu. Best of them, perfect HP. Forget what it was when I put in the IV checks. But it was pretty darn good. And as you might saw, I have plenty of Swablu candy to spare, especially since I don't have to worry about holding on to candies for special research or anything like that. Speaking of special research, I guess I could talk a bit about where I am in that. I'm at 5 of 8 of the Ripple in Time quest. As you can see, the only thing I have left to do is to evolve my Eevee. I walked it as far as I needed to. It's got the 10 kilometers that it needs. All I have to do at this point is just wait for it to become nighttime. And if I recall correctly, after this, I'm able to get the start on the quest for the silver pinap berry. I forget if the one where you have to spin a stop every day in a row is this one or the next one. I think what it might actually be is 6 is you have to spin 7 in a row, and 8 you have to spin like 20 in a row or something like that. It's been a while, I have yet to double check the research. Well, I'm on research looking at things though. Guess I can claim that Roselia quest and see if it's any good. Nope, no shiny. I guess we can just catch it and see how good it is. Sorry, force a habit there. But at least we skipped the animation and get to look at it a little bit quicker. Really strong, HP, defense. I think that's bottom of the barrel when it comes to research, because there's a little cap. Oh. Well, Jimmy Dog, I can't take any more friend requests right now. I'm currently having a hard time managing sending gifts to everyone as is. So I'm just keeping it exclusive to people I see in person and mutual friends. But as you saw from my recording setup, the chat is thrown right on there, so your friend code was on the stream. So if anyone in the chat is listening and still wants people, it's there. Yeah, sorry, man. Like I said, though, hopefully someone else is watching the stream and is looking for friends, and they'll add you that way. And I think I want to go through all of these, because I know that Spinda's down there, and instead of catching it right away like I should have, I just ran because I wanted to double check to make sure what spot I got it from, so I could actually tell other people in the area where it was. So because of that, it got thrown to the bottom of my stack. Ugh, dang it. I swear I'm better than this normally. Does LP curse count towards things that aren't related to LPs? Because that's the excuse I'm sticking to and going for it. it does remind me back in the old days, I really struggled with pretty much anything that floated and flew. Like things that went the figure 8 formation used to always give me trouble. No, no, oh no, we do not want to use that. Why won't my back arrow work? Almost used that. I guess too late to say, almost. Almost accidentally used the silver peanut berry. For real this time. I think we're safe to say that. For those of you who don't know, the silver peanut berry, it's really useful. It pretty much acts as a raspberry, which increases your odds of catching a Pokemon, and a peanut berry, which doubles the candy you earn from said Pokemon. It's actually a little more effective than a raspberry, just not as effective as the fabled golden raspberry. Yeah. That on the far left is the golden raspberry, which greatly increases your odds of catching a Pokemon. So the silver peanut berry is kind of in between. Hopefully, we don't got too much more to go through. And I'm trying to think of other things that may be going on. Oh yeah, those 2 raids. Like, just today, while I was looking around for parks that might have Pokemon nests that I'm interested in that, I basically went to that one area, found that Spinda quest, then went into the main town where I actually walk at. And just as I was pulling out of the car, I checked my phone and I saw 2 raids right next to each other. One that was a lone executor. First lone executor raid I've actually seen out in the open, and the other was a good old Tyranitar raid. Catch was, the prior had 10 minutes and the latter had 15. I'll get back to that story in a bit, but here it is. There's that spin that I was looking at. If you're paying close attention, you may notice that the one I showed before had the spots not on his face, and this one has red spots right on the right side of his face. So that's the difference for those people who care. And ideally, I could probably just use Pokeballs, because field research Pokemon can never run away. But I do want to kind of just breeze through this real as quick as I can so I can go on to other stories. Here we go. Let me just do one side-by-side comparison. And as I do that, once I do that, we can talk more about the raids I did. So that was the one from August. This is the one from September. Know the difference. It could save a life. Or not. Only collectors probably really even care about that. But it's a thing to know. So, back in regards to the rating, I essentially, when I saw those 2, saw how the Executor had 10 minutes left and the Tyranitar had like 15 minutes left, I gave up on the, I didn't barely even mention the Executor because I knew no one's going to make it there at time, but I figured I'd throw the Tyranitar up in my local chest just in case, and we actually did get enough people to do it, like, just in time. The Tyranitar isn't really that special. The most significant thing about it is that it's weather boosted, so it's good that we actually got a lot of people to come over last minute. So that's not bad in general, but that's pretty mediocre for a raid boss, IV-wise. And I do have that Lucky Larvitar that I believe I brought up in the last Fireside chat. I'm going to be focusing my candies on that thing anyways. This guy is the real prize of the day, though. You can battle with the best of them. Got perfect HP and perfect attack. And I checked his IVs in an IV checker, and I believe his defenses has like 13, possibly 12, but I'm pretty sure 13 out of 15 defense IVs. So it is like in the 91% range of IVs, which makes me real happy because I did that raid because I still need a good lone executor. I caught them back when they were running loose in the wild back in the day. However, I don't really feel like I was lucky enough to actually get a good one. You can see this one doesn't have perfect attack, and some of his other stats are a bit crummy. This one I did in a trade with the hopes that it would be good, and it's good in the sense that it's got such a high CP, I could probably use it even without investing anything into it. But if you go and appraise it, it's pretty crummy. So the fact that I got an lone executor that I don't have to feel bad about powering up makes me feel pretty good. And Triantar candy is always welcome, so that raid was nice too. It only makes it a bit of a shame that I couldn't pinap it, but with that higher CP and the weather boost, I was better off just focusing on trying to catch it. Bit of a shame I didn't prepare the clips in advance, because I did actually show off catching it and all. But unfortunately I pretty much just came right back from home to set up to do this stream. So that's about all I gotta talk about. If anyone is still listening in chat and that, do you guys have anything you want to contribute before I sign out? No, I'll take that as a no. But I want to just double check real quick to make sure that... Oh yeah, that's right, I was going to do the evolutions on screen. Not all of these, because I kind of want to save it on for a lucky egg. But there was a couple I at least wanted to do. I think I wanted to evolve one of my shiny Winguls just so I can get Propeller taken care of for the shiny decks and never have to worry about it again. And possibly evolve the Swablu. Which one of these are good again? Well, I can't exactly evolve that one because he's still hanging out at the gym. I don't know if I want to evolve Green Boy though. Green Boy was the first one I got. They're both bad, and I know I'm not going to use Propeller. I guess we'll save evolving Wingul when both my shinies are home. Swablu, however, we can definitely take care of on stream. I definitely got no problem doing that. Just gotta find it. Yeah. I'm kind of wondering if Thick Boy is really the best name for this thing. However, it's got a lot of health. It's a healthy boy. And it gets to be quite fluffy when it evolves, so that's probably the reason for that name. Here we go. Here comes the evolution of Thick Boy. And now I got both a shiny Swablu and a shiny Altaria. with how much candy I was hoarding, definitely justifies the means. Double check if there's anything else I want to evolve. I don't know, I just don't have the heart to evolve the Shelter. Shining Cloister isn't bad, it's pretty neat, but man, that orange is so beautiful. But I gotta stop myself before I make this all about, like, just strutting my stuff in and showcasing all the shinies that I got. Is there anything else I just wonder was at least something else I wanted to evolve on stream? But now I can't freaking remember it. I think the Wingul and the... Oh yeah, Rattata. I might as well evolve this and get myself a luckier Rattata. Excuse me, I might as well evolve this and get a lucky Raticate. That way I can just mark it off the shiny decks. Boop and a boop. And I'm never gonna use this thing either way. So I might as well have the novelty of 2 lucky Pokemon rather than just 1. And I'm definitely not gonna go out of my way to try to get every single lucky Pokemon, but it's just something to have in the background when I'm bored. Just a goal to do when I'm bored, I guess, would be a way to describe it. And it's kind of nice that in the Pokedex they actually go out of the way to actually showcase that, like, when you actually go pick out your lucky Pokemon and actually see... Oh, that's a little sad. They tuned down the particle effect for the luckies on the Pokedex screen. Then again, I'm pretty sure I saw people complaining about it and how it made it actually hard to actually see your numbers, like see how many you caught, how many are actually lucky. Like, that particle effect was originally everywhere, like all the way from the top all the way down to where you see lucky, and even a little bit further below. But I guess this is cool. Like, it's enough of a particle effect to tell that you got a lucky Pokemon, but not enough to disrupt your ability to actually read the Pokedex. You know, I think that's it, though. Thank you all for tuning in for this edition of the Fireside Chat. Actually got a little bit more interaction this week than previous weeks. And I thank you again. Also made me realize that I need to work out a system so I can better incorporate viewer chat without interrupting the flow of the show, for lack of a better way to describe it. But I'll work on that on my own time. Feel free to keep contributing the way you do, and just don't forget that even if I don't read it right away, read it out loud that is, I am keeping my eyes on the chat. And the fact that people showed up to throw their input at me is well appreciated on itself. If you haven't already, and you're watching on Twitch here, just hit that follow button, and you'll get notifications when I go live. I do want to do more than just these particular Pokemon Go chats, but until I take time to sit down and see how my gaming setup actually handles streams, I may just stick to mobile game stuff, but it'll be something. I also like to do my video series where I draw heroes from Fire Emblem Hero in a similar fashion, so you can find that live on Twitch as well. And I'll definitely be a lot more interactive and a lot less has caught off guard, I guess I'll say, when chat questions have come up there. I'm just still trying to get a little bit of a feel of the show, and on one hand I want to go through everything, but I don't want you guys to feel completely ignored. But with Fire Emblem, I'm pretty much looking for stuff to talk about while I'm drawing heroes anyways, so I guess it's safe to say I'm more immediate to responding and interacting for that particular series. Yeah, I guess that's the best way to put it. If you're not watching live though, you can go to my channel on Twitch TV/JackitK and follow me there, and you'll get notifications when I go live. I do try to give as much advance notice as possible via Twitter at JackitStuff. Pretty much about the same way as you see on the channel here, but minus a K, you put in some stuff, and you got JackitStuff. In addition, if you want to watch this in advance or after the fact, I do upload each of these shows onto my YouTube channel, which you can find by searching JackitK. And I am working out the details of getting an audio-only version of this show as well, so you can listen to it in podcast form. I think I currently have something up on SoundCloud, but once I narrow it out and try to figure out how to get it onto Google Play, and that will work out the details from there. Yeah, apologies again for just being so all over the place with when I was doing this stream. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be doing the next one on Saturday at 8 p.m. Still hesitant finding a good time, because honestly, it can be a bit of a struggle for me to stream, not necessarily because of talking. So I'm not going to deny that could be an issue with me. But just a matter of fact that finding the time that I can sit down and stream and not worried about being interrupted as I stream. To just put it without going into all the personal details. I think that covers all my bases. Thanks again for watching, listening, and just showing support. Hope to see you all for the next one. Take care.